How do I look? In this video, we want to shoot using what we call 3-point lighting or high key lighting. So what you can see now is my face is nicely brightly lit. I am covered in light, but I am drawing more light on one side of my face than the other. And what that's doing is adding depth and dimension to my face. So this is done using a technique called 3-point lighting, kinda, sorta. Three-point lighting is, like the name suggests, using 3 points of light. We've got a backlight, we've got a fill light, and we've got a key light. The backlight, I've got lights behind me in the room that you can see there. It's just to kind of separate me from the background. Generally in 3-point lighting, the backlight will be much more dramatic than that. A fill light is a light which kind of covers me in light. It fills the space with light if you want. And a key light is the light that you see, this white light hitting my face, which is lighting me more directionally and creating more of an impact on my face. So you can see how I've got this set up here. I'm sitting in my studio, and on one side I've got one lamp without a shade on it, and it's got a lower wattage bulb in it, kind of an orange one. It's giving me a bit of an orange glow on my face, which I'm not 100% happy about, but I can change that in post. And on the other side I've got my key light, and you can see here I've just gotten my son's desk lamp again, and I've just gotten some plain old baking paper from the kitchen and just created a little wrap. And what that's done is diffused the light, so it spreads it out. It's not kind of, I'm not getting these more dramatic shadows. I'll show you what it looks like without that. You can see now that I've got much more shadow. When I move my face, you can see the shadow of my nose, and it's really obvious and kind of unpleasant. So with that diffuser over the top, it's just going to smooth the light out a little bit more. Okay, with this lighting, I don't need to worry too much about adjusting focus, because with this much light, the camera can focus pretty easily on my face, and it's going to want to focus to where the majority of the light is, so it's going to go straight to my face. However, it will constantly adjust, and that can change over time. So you can do the same thing like we did before, where I've just clicked and held to get auto exposure and auto focus to stay on the one spot, just in case the person's moving around a little bit, and we don't want it constantly changing. You can adjust exposure if you want to just drag that down. Then you're going to get a lot more definition in your face, or in my face, or in your subject's face, which kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. We get more of a contrast, so it's a more kind of dramatic shot. Okay, so here I am in Premiere Pro with a rather unappealing shot of me, but I have been lit well, and now I just need to adjust things. So again, if you're getting some orange hues from the lights that you've been using, then don't forget you can come here to use the white balance and adjust the tone of your footage. So again, I'll find that in the color tab, and then first thing I'll do is grab my little white balance selector and go in. Now I can just select the wall behind me because that's white. So basically when you use this, you're telling the software, this thing that I'm pointing at here is white. You need to adjust everything else to accommodate. And that's fixed it a little bit. Then it's just a matter of tweaking these sliders just to kind of get the look that you're looking for. It still feels a little bit washed out, and we can add to, so again, when we've done this lighting, we're doing it to create depth and dimension in my face, and we can add to that here. So we'll just kind of just reduce the exposure a little bit. Now contrast is what you want to kind of play with, because contrast is going to make a difference between the light parts of the image and the dark parts of the image. And then already you can see that we're starting to add more definition. And then by you playing with all these other sliders, we're starting to tweak it and create more depth and definition in our image, enhance the blacks, and then you can see that it's just a much more crisp shot. I've found that since I've done that, my face is looking a little bit more orange there, so I'm just going to slide that temperature slider a little bit, and then I'm pretty happy with that. That looks pretty good. Another thing you can do, and I should have mentioned this with the low key lighting as well. Ooh, that looks bad. Is we can add a vignette. Vignettes are great to just kind of draw attention to narrow the focus of the image on the person's face, which is going to be the brightest part of the image. So if you scroll down the bottom here, so we were just in basic correction. If you scroll down to vignette, and I can just add a little vignette there, and you can see that's just to be dramatic. That's what a vignette is. If you drag it down this way, it'll be black. If I drag it out this way, it'll be white. But we want to just kind of drag it. So what we're doing is just kind of funneling the light onto my face. You can move these other sliders and have a little bit of a play. So basically it's adding to the light in that it's enhancing the light that's on my face, which is what we want. Okay, just quick, this is in iMovie, and this is pretty straightforward, although you don't have as much control. I could just go straight up here to this, automatic mode. Sometimes that works. Here, I think it's kind of made me a bit too blue, a bit too kind of vibrant. If I then wanted to go over here, the skin tone balance will work really well now because we've got some well-lit skin tones. But notice how it changes. If I take from a really bright part of my face, we get these really orange hues, and it's more blue if you go for the darker tones. So just try to find a natural skin tone to select from, and that's looking all right. Now the only other thing we want to do is kind of boost the color. Boost the contrast, and you can just do that using these sliders here. So if I click that mid-tone one and drag it down, you'll see that we get more of a contrast. We're making the darker parts darker, which is creating more of a contrast between the dark parts and the white parts. That doesn't look too bad. The only thing you can add a vignette if you want. We've got all these kind of clip filters over here that you can choose from, but you don't have any control over it. It just looks like that. It's a bit too bold as far as I'm concerned. So iMovie, you can get away with some tweaks, but you're kind of limited by what you can do. So that's it, 3-point lighting, high key lighting. Once you do that and you do the previous video on low key lighting, then you can start to mix it up. Oh, what does that look like? Does that look good? I don't know. You tell me. You're the expert. Go do it.